Okay, continuing on with our professionalism series, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about business meals and how you can show professionalism during this common work activity. Okay, so we've broken this into a four-part series so we can cover all the things without having too much stuff in a single video. But we'll start at the beginning with reservations. Okay, for many of your business type meals, you're going to need to make a reservation in advance. Showing up at a restaurant where there's a long wait and things like that can be awkward, can not be a very good experience for everybody involved, whether it's outside individuals who you're entertaining or whatever. So just make sure you've made the appropriate reservations in advance. And if you're going to invite someone to dinner, make certain that you can you do it with enough time that you can get a reservation, that you can identify the place and give them all the necessary information ahead of time. Okay. Next, RSVPing, making certain that everybody who could potentially need or want to be at that meeting or at that business dinner is invited, and you have their feedback as to whether they will be attending or no. That can change a lot of things about how the restaurant accounts for all the people there, whether you'll be in a private room, whether you'll be at a certain size table, that type of thing. And if you try to add people at the last minute, particularly in restaurants that are booked, it can become very awkward in the restaurant just by virtue of them having to try to put tables together or accommodate a bigger group than they were expected from the very beginning. So make certain you get an adequate attendee list, and then have everyone RSVP so you can make the appropriate reservations with the correct number of individuals who'll be attending. Okay. Next, the dress code. Okay, dress appropriately for the environment in which you'll be dining. Okay, if it is a coat and jacket type thing for men, then make certain that you are prepared for that. Make certain you give notice to others who will be attending the dinner, the dress code for the restaurant or your expectations there in terms of dress code for the business meal. Okay, once again, make certain that the restaurant, the quality or stature of the restaurant matches the level of formality associated with the business meal. Okay, valet parking. All right. Many restaurants, nicer restaurants or restaurants in larger cities, you need to make certain that valet is available for the guests, or so that they understand whether their obligation is to park themselves or to use the valet service. And you can ahead of time go ahead and make reservation for valet and tip for valet ahead of time, so it's not put on the visitors to the business meal. Of course, this is not necessary in every situation, but in the event you have a formal business meeting where you are inviting others, that type of thing, it's going to be an important point. Okay, we will discuss meal etiquette in a completely separate video because there's a lot to go over in meal etiquette, as we will also meal service and how the service of the meal process, the different courses and things like that play out. So these are important aspects, but once again, we'll discuss these in separate videos. And then the check or gratuity. If you were the one calling the business meeting, if it's an informal meeting, just a lunch meeting where you and colleagues have dinner together, so you or lunch together, that type of thing, it may not be that any one person picks up the check. In an evening meal scenario in a restaurant, it's going to be common to put everything on one check. It's generally considered poor form to have the waitress or waiter break up the check. Okay, so the expectation is that whoever called the meeting picks up the check, and it includes gratuity. Gratuity is generally 20%, 18%, or 15% if the service was not up to quality, and sometimes even 22% to 25% if the service was outstanding. Okay, and all of this corresponds again with the level of formality of the restaurant as well. Generally, more formal restaurants hover around 20% and above. Okay, because the service is generally made to be exceptional in those in those scenarios. So that being said, once again, the organizer of the business meeting generally picks up the check for the attendees, except for in far less formal circumstances. Okay, and please check out our next series, our next videos in this series on meal etiquette and meal service.